Hi, my name's Spencer Brown. I was kind of first introduced myself as a husband and a father. So in the top right picture there, you see my family, my wife Amanda, and our two children, um, Abigail and Benaiah. Abigail just turned 2, and Benaiah turned 3 in August. My professional life, I started out as a high school math teacher at Jayhawk Lynn High School. It's a real small town, a real small school in southeast Kansas. There, like I said, I taught high school math, but in a small school, you had to be fairly flexible. So I taught everything from 8th grade up through intermediate, uh, high school level math. And then I coached a variety of sports, but by the end, I was just coaching high school football and track. I now work for Kansas MTSS as a state trainer. I took that position about 3 years ago. My team and myself work with districts. Districts will apply to have our team come in and work with them, and we typically work with BLTs and ensure that they have everything structured for success of each student. And so we work with interventions, ensuring that all the structures are adequate there, but then also our your tier one and your enrichment pieces appropriate. And then beyond that, we talk about even the framework of just kind of how the culture of your school. We do family engagement surveys and some instruction there, as well as community involvement. And so just kind of tying it all together and making sure that as a system, you're always organized for the success of each student. And the three main content areas we talk about are reading, math, uh, and behavior and social emotional learning. So, like I said in that intro, we do talk to our schools a lot about school community relations. And so, um, for the purposes of this video, I decided to go ahead and highlight how KISA, which is the Kansas accreditation system, how they highlight school community relations and how they define kind of modeling schools in that area. Our team works a lot with KISA as well. I myself am an OVT chair of one district and on 3 or 4 other OVT teams as well. And so I thought that uh, leveraging KISA right now would be make for a little more relevant video right now. So uh, in KISA, they talk about utilizing school community relations as a resource. And primarily that last sentence, they talk about utilizing as a resource to share resources and support students' interests and aptitudes. So another big drive in Kansas right now is individual plans of study. And I think if you're not leveraging your community and how you're approaching those, you might be missing a large piece of what those could be, not only for the students, but also for community preservation. I was with one particular superintendent who said that that's exactly what they'd done. They'd reached out to community businesses and said, hey, what do you need? What labor or what jobs do you have available if our students were to be adequately prepared, and what is kind of that individual plan of study they would need to shoot for that. And so I just thought that that was a really novel idea, not only just approaching it as what's best for our students, but what's best for our community as well, and understanding that it is the whole system, even beyond the walls of the school, that we're trying to make sure thrives and survives. So the second piece from Key says they talk about school community relations as a partnership. And so if you're familiar with Professor Putnam's work, Bowling Alone, and he recently had another one, but he talks about the idea of social capital, and it's really interesting because he talks about it in terms of the number of bowling alleys in a community. But really the idea there is the more bowling alleys, the higher the social capital of the community, because people are together and they're doing life together, and not very many people go bowling alone. And so um, the rate of bowling alleys kind of would signify that people are doing things together and there's a high social capital in a community. And so when I read about the partnership piece from KISA, and they talk about using communities as partners, mentors, and advisors for educators and students, that's really what it highlights to me, is creating a really strong social capital, which is extremely valuable for your students. And so I think thinking about how can you leverage that within your walls and really kind of take that "it takes a village" approach with your students to make sure that they're all getting the best opportunities possible is a really exciting idea, I think, to me. So the last piece is I just look forward to learning a lot. I have a whole lot more I can learn about school community partnerships, and I'm really excited to see kind of what the maybe new research would say, or at least novel ideas, and how to leverage those relationships and make sure that they are strong and healthy and lead to a strong, healthy school and community as a whole. So I just look forward to learning from you all. Thanks.